Talk about a crusher. Yes! Are you kidding me?
And
Welcome back to the Schoolyard Sports podcast. I'm the host of this podcast, Lane Frank. We're on episode 178. So 178 episodes through, and I got an action-packed episode planned for you. The Olympics are over. We're fully on the way with our NFL preseason. MLB closing up on that wildcard race, heading into the playoffs, so much more. Stay tuned for an action-packed episode 178. Let's hop into it. Let's start off episode 178, how we always do, with the headlines in the NBA. Not too much news in the NBA except our Olympics gold champions, Team USA. Let's go. USA, USA, USA. Stephen Curry, build this man a statue, make him president. Wow, what a performance that was. Stephen Curry went absolutely just obliterated France in the final minutes. I was thinking about it, and I was talking to somebody about it. It's like, okay, USA fans can turn on, say, maybe let's go with gymnastics match or a swimming match. I say, ooh, who's this guy from France? He's incredible. I don't know much about the sport, but this guy's incredible. What if it was just a random French guy saying, okay, you know, France is in the finals of this competition, basketball. I don't know much about basketball. Let's tune in, let's watch it, and let's root for France. And they see this Stephen Curry guy go absolutely insane in the last few minutes of the game, and they're like, is this guy world class? Is this guy the greatest of all time? He's not. But he's in the top 10 debate now. For me, he's a top 10 player of all time, cementing his legacy after cementing his Olympic legacy, winning a gold medal, having a great Olympics in his first career time in the Olympics. What a great event this was for Stephen Curry. What a great time it was for the NBA. USA, it's always great when USA wins, and it's great for the NBA. Now, in the NFL, we're fully on our way with the preseason, and we got some big news. Let's start out talking about my favorite thing, the rookie quarterbacks, everybody. Now, let's start with my favorite rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy started out his debut, really lackluster, horrible interception. Everybody's dying J.J. McCarthy. Where's Stallions? Where's Stallions? Oh, where's the cheating? Michigan needs it. Then J.J. McCarthy silences everybody, makes two amazing plays, two plays that we really didn't see J.J. McCarthy ever do at Michigan. And I hate to say as a Michigan fan, but he didn't really ever throw the ball that deep for that many touchdowns. Had a great game. And now we get the heartbreaking news today that J.J. McCarthy has torn his meniscus and will have to sit out a very long time. Injuries can ruin a player's career. I don't think this can happen for J.J. McCarthy. For rookies, it can be a setback. I want to look at Matt Corral. Matt Corral, let's go with his rookie season, had Liz Frank, I think that's what it was called, fractured in his foot. It was out his whole entire rookie season. Now, if he was healthy that rookie season, I think he would have started maybe 2 or 3 games because the Panthers were that bad at the quarterback position and they need help. Well, Matt Corral didn't play. They drafted Bryce Young next year, and Matt Corral was gone. Now he's in the UFL. Injuries can derail a player's career. That won't happen to J.J. McCarthy. He's going to learn to sit behind Sam Darnold, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Let's see how the season rides out. I don't think it was good for J.J. to play this year anyways. J.J. played great on Sunday, and that's the thing to look forward to for his career. A very young career. Tough to see the torn meniscus, though. Brandon Ayuk is still holding out. And let's see how this works out because he hasn't gotten a trade done yet. He still says, oh, maybe, I would go back to San Francisco. Oh, I would go like to play in Pittsburgh. I would go like to maybe play in Cleveland. Oh, New England? No, they got horrible quarterback room. Pick a side, Brandon Ayuk. Pick a side. Speaking of that New England quarterback room, Drake May didn't look so hot in his debut. Now, they've got an interesting quarterback room. I think Gerard Mayo is a fantastic coach. Let's see how he handles this quarterback situation. Jacoby Brissett needs to be a week 1 starter. This guy's NFL experience starting in a game. Drake May is not ready for that yet. Drake May didn't even play his freshman year of college. Sat behind Sam Howell, which was a great thing for him. Then took that step in from Sam Howell and became a Heisman contender his last year's North Carolina. That was great. I can see that path right there for Jacoby Brissett and Drake May. The thing I don't like about this Patriots quarterback room is Bailey Zappi. You have Joe Milton, who has so much upside, who, get ready for the Joe Milton experience if you're a Patriots fan. A lot of people know about Joe Milton, including me, but nobody's experienced the pain like I have with a Joe Milton Michigan team. That was the roughest time in my life, watching a Joe Milton Michigan football game. The early stages of Schoolyard Sports is watching Joe Milton football for Michigan, and, it's the most heartbreaking, saddening thing. So I don't want Patriots fans to go through that, but maybe if Joe Milton can fix some things up, he's got a great upside. The guy I don't like in this room is Bailey Zappi. He doesn't fit in. You have Brissett, he's your bridge quarterback, he's your veteran. You have Drake May, he's your backup. You have Joe Milton, he's your third stringer. Where does Bailey Zappi fit in all this? If you had to pull an NFL game today, I'd probably say Jacoby Brissett and Bailey Zappi are probably the 2 best guys out there. But you still want to see Drake May. You want to see Joe Milton. We've seen Bailey Zappi. We've seen what he can do. It's not anything special. No need to have Bailey Zappi on this roster, in my opinion, if you're Gerard Mayo. Jane Daniels had a very solid debut, having a great first pass, 42 yards, and then getting a touchdown on his first drive. He's going to start week 1. Whether I'm opposed to it or whether I'm not, it's going to be a fun thing to watch. Jane Daniels, week 1, starting for this Dan Quinn football team. Bo Nix also played great, and he's also probably going to start week 1. Again, if I'm opposed to it, if I'm not opposed to it, it's going to be fun to watch Bo Nix play football. This is a guy who's really never taken a backseat to anybody in his career, was a top high school recruit out of going out of high school, played, I think, every game of varsity's first 4 years of high school. Then goes to college, doesn't have to sit out a single game, wins a top 10 matchup in his first career start, which was his first career game in college. I don't think Bo Nix has ever been a backup in college football, outside maybe an injury, which he had his junior year at Auburn. Bo Nix is a very good player. Let's see how you can translate it over to the NFL. Last thing in the NFL, CeeDee Lamb still holding out. I find this very interesting because CeeDee Lamb, let's think about it. Is he the best receiver in the NFL? No. Does he deserve that type of contract? No. Does he want that type of contract? Probably, but he's not worth the Justin Jefferson type of money. He just isn't. Let's see how it works out right here, but I don't think CeeDee Lamb deserves such a big contract, in my opinion. Let's pivot over to the MLB. We got a lot of things going on over there. Jazz Chisholm Jr., who has absolutely just been kind of killing it for the Yankees, just killed his UCL, out for the season, out for probably next season too. It's a really rough injury to have as any type of player, especially a pitcher. But Jazz Chisholm is a fielder, has a big arm. It's going to be rough to see right there. He's a great guy, and I think the reason they traded for him was that he can play so many positions. With a UCL injury, you can probably play DH, but also it's still hard to hit. You still have to sit out a few months. Bryce Harper, let's think about his injury a few years ago. He was playing the outfield towards UCL, was out for a very long time. They need to move to first base. He's been there for the rest of his career. Happened a few years ago with the Phillies. Jazz Chisholm Jr., they need him in the field. They need him in the outfield. UCL injury. Jason Dominguez had it last year for the Yankees. Still hasn't come back. So for Jazz Chisholm Jr., let's see if he can come back next season. Definitely not back this season. Let's see if he'll come back next season for the New York Yankees. Tough break right there for the Yankees. Another tough break for Justin Verlander. Still doing rehab starts a year after getting traded away from the Mets. Had a rough playoffs last year. Justin Verlander always had a rough playoffs. Hasn't really done anything since getting traded away from the Mets. Justin Verlander back in Houston, but hasn't been able to pitch much for them. Let's see if he can pitch again this season. My Mets are collapsing, sinking like a ship. It's horrible to see, but their crosstown rivals are doing the same thing. I know I said in last week's episode, this is the year the Yankees don't collapse. Well, it's happening. Losing 12-2 to the worst team in MLB the other night, the Chicago White Sox. Yankees are struggling. They need to figure out some things. Is Aaron Boone the problem? Is Aaron Boone the solution to all this? Let's see how it works out for the Yankees coming up on the playoffs, if they can even clinch a playoff spot. And the final things out in college football, we have our AP poll finally out. You're going to want to see my take of the week, why I think this is the most ridiculous AP poll in a long time. Stay tuned. All right, I'm a Michigan fan. Everybody on this show knows that. If you listen to this show, you know that. If you're a new listener, I'm a big Michigan fan. Michigan football, Michigan basketball. I'm not very biased. Whether you think I'm biased or whether you think I'm not, I don't think I'm a very biased person when it comes to Michigan because I know when to draw the line. I know when to criticize Michigan. And I know it's time to give them praise. Now, when this AP poll came out, I was thinking this is going to be a perfect take of the week. And it is the take of the week this week about this AP poll that came out. It's the AP poll. It's not a committee. It's an AP poll of just comprised amount of votes. The college ball playoff rankings are the ones that really matter, but still a little bit sour to see what these AP preseason rankings are. Last year, the AP poll was great for Michigan. Number 2 preseason, great job, nailed it. Michigan finished season number 1, national champions. College ball's a bit wacky this year. There's not one team that returns so much talent from a really good team to where you think they can win national championship. I'm going to go through this AP poll where they have the reigning national champions, Michigan, at number 9. And the night before the AP poll came out, I posted on the Schoolyard Sports Instagram that Michigan deserved to be number 1. Not based off national championship, because that's not right. You shouldn't base it off last season. Nothing should be based off last season. When LSU won the national championship, they were a much worse team in 2020, and that showed in 2020. I don't see that type of fall off from Michigan this year because of the talent they brought back. But nonetheless, let's go through this top 9 in the AP poll before Michigan. Number 1, Georgia. Well, Georgia doesn't have many athletes. Georgia has Trevor Etienne, brother of Travis Etienne. They have a decent quarterback, Carson Beck. Carson Beck couldn't win them an SEC championship last year, couldn't win them a college championship, couldn't lead them to college ball playoffs. Georgia still struggled a lot last year with a much better team. Oscar Delp is no Brock Bowers. This defense is nowhere compared to last year's defense. You can look at anybody in this team. Rara Thomas is no longer on this team. And when I look at their receiver room, where's Ladd McConkey? He's with the Chargers. Where's Rara Thomas? He's gone. There's no great athletes on this Georgia football team. They don't have that X-factor running back. Trevor Etienne was fine at Florida. He wasn't exactly an X factor, couldn't help them win many games. Kenny McIntosh, Zamir White, those guys who helped Georgia win national championships, those guys were guys that could win games with Georgia. I don't know if Trevor Etienne does that. I don't think Georgia is worthy of this number one spot at all, outside of the name Georgia. For Ohio State, they're number 2. And this is the biggest joke to me. Not because I'm a Michigan fan, because let's think about it. Why is Ohio State number 2? When they have a quarterback, they have so many quarterbacks, teams here. Okay, they have a bunch of quarterbacks. They have Julian Sain, who's going to be a freshman. He won't play. Aaron Nolan, freshman, won't play. Lickett Keenholz, who we saw play in the bowl game against Missouri, couldn't do anything. Devin Brown, who we saw play in the bowl game, got hurt after a minute, was horrible in the minute he played. Will Howard is going to be the starting quarterback this year for Ohio State. Will Howard is an okay quarterback. He was really bad his first year at Kansas State, had a decent second year where he was the backup to Adrian Martinez, and then played okay football for Kansas State last year, didn't lead them to a New Year's Six bowl. Nothing special. And highs at Ohio State. The returning talent for Ohio State, okay, that's great. TreVeyon Henderson can't stay healthy. What does TreVeyon Henderson accomplish in his college football career? Team-wise, really nothing. Okay? What has Emeka Egbuka done? Emeka Egbuka did nothing except get exposed by Michigan. Okay, these players are returning. Great. They're returning off a team that had such a disappointing season last year. Such a disappointing season for the Buckeyes last year. And those guys are all returning. Great. Doesn't make them a good team. I can put together a team of the whole entire Detroit Pistons team this year and say, okay, they're all coming back. Does that make them the second best team in the NBA? Absolutely not, just because they brought everybody back. Doesn't mean those guys were good. Doesn't mean those guys helped them win games. Ohio State only won 11 games last year. It was a lucky 11 games, finishing their last 3 games in horrible fashion against 2 best teams they played all year. Number 3, Oregon. Don't even get me started with this one. Oregon, again, new quarterback Dylan Gabriel, new conference, doesn't make sense to me. Oh, we got Evan Stewart. Great, Evan Stewart really did nothing in his time at A&M. Quarterback situation, regardless for Oregon, they don't deserve to be number 3. 4, Texas. This one I can live with. Quinn Ewers is a very good quarterback. They made the college ball playoff. Texas can be number 4. Alabama at number 5. Kalen DeBoer, new head coach. Jalen Milroe, best quarterback in college football. It dips off after that. New offensive line. I think everybody's gone except Caden Proctor from last year's team. Caden Proctor left on this team so many times. I mean, he's transferred to Iowa. He's transferred back from Iowa to Alabama. It doesn't make sense to me to have Alabama all the way at number 5 right here. Ole Miss number 6. Ole Miss didn't have a great year last year. They won a New Year's Six bowl game. Jackson Dart looked a little bit inconsistent in my opinion. Lane Kiffin, you never know what you're getting with Lane Kiffin. They got Walter Nolan in the transfer portal, which is great for them. They lost Kinshawn Junkins. They lost a lot of guys. Ole Miss number 6. It doesn't make sense to me. This is a good one. Notre Dame at number 7. This is the biggest joke of them all. Marcus Freeman is your head coach. You're not going to win a championship as Marcus Freeman is your head coach. At least not yet. He's not developed as a coach yet. I think Marcus Freeman can be a championship-winning head coach. Just not this year. Just not today. Riley Leonard is your quarterback. Riley Leonard is not so amazing at this quarterback position. I've seen him play at Duke. He's a good quarterback of Duke. He is not the Sam Hartman you're looking for. He is not your elite quarterback. He's not an Ian Book. Let's put it that way. Riley Leonard is not going to lead Notre Dame to the promised land. And finally, Penn State. Penn State at number 8 is laughable to me. Okay, what do they have? They have Drew Aller at quarterback, who is the most inconsistent quarterback in the Big Ten. Talent-wise, whatever-wise, he's inconsistent and got exposed against Michigan. They have a new defense coordinator. They have James Franklin, who still can't win a big game as a head coach since 2016 against Ohio State. They have a new offense coordinator from Kansas. Let's see how that works out. Nick Singleton's a great running back. Nick Singleton's not better than Donovan Edwards. And then we have Michigan at number 9. Michigan has a new quarterback. Okay, what else does Michigan have? They have a great running back room. Donovan Edwards, Khalil Mullings. They have the best defense in the country. Look at Kenneth Grant, top 5 pick. Mason Graham, top 5 pick. Josiah Stewart, first-round pick. Derek Moore, first-round pick. These guys are all back on this Michigan team, who could have been great players last year in the NFL draft. They just weren't eligible. Will Johnson could be the best player in college football this year. He is my best player in college football. Rod Moore, if he comes back from that torn ACL, is a great player. Sherrone Moore is a great head coach. There's teams on here with new head coaches. Let's look at Alabama. I'm not saying Oregon is a new head coach, but they're in a new conference. It's a little bit different. Texas is in a new conference. It's different. Michigan should be number 1 in the country because of the returning talent they have, because of the consistency that they've shown. None of these 8 teams to me has shown consistency. Michigan is not no amazing football team to where they are going to win the national championship. I can bookmark it right now. I can't do that. I also can't do that for the other 100-plus teams in college football. I think Michigan, if I had to put all my chips into a bag right now for anybody, it'd be Michigan. Not saying I'm going to do that because I'm not so sure. I'm not sure about anybody in college football this year. That's my point. We have a good quarterback, Michigan. They have a great defense. It's going to be fun to watch. Michigan should have been number 1 in this AP poll rankings. If not number 1, it is disrespectful. Thank you for listening to my Take of the Week rant. Once again, not many more left, unfortunately, with Schoolyard Sports Game Day coming up in the next few weeks in the NFL. Still more to come on Schoolyard Sports Land Frank, episode 178. Now, top 5. This week's top 5 is for all you fantasy football heads. My top 5 players in fantasy football is here. Let's get through it. Number 5, Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua was maybe the best receiver in fantasy football last year. That was before Cooper Kupp came back from injury. That went down a little bit. I think he can go up even more with a healthy Cooper Kupp. Because of the attention Cooper Kupp will be getting, Puka Nacua will be open more. It's a reach, but I like Puka Nacua at number 5, one of the best receivers in football and one of the best receivers in fantasy. There's a difference of fantasy in real life, but Puka Nacua in fantasy is a top 5 player. 5, Puka Nacua. 4, Justin Jefferson. Now, for all you saying, oh, but his quarterback, Sam Darnold, he doesn't have a good quarterback. He didn't have a good quarterback. He needed Kirk Cousins, and he still put up numbers. Sam Darnold is going to put up Kirk Cousins type of numbers right here. Play like Kirk Cousins, and it's going to work. 4, Justin Jefferson. New contract, he's ready, baby. 4, Minnesota Vikings receiver, Justin Jefferson. 3, Jamar Chase with a healthy Joe Burrow back at under center. It's going to be great. Jamar Chase is one of the best players in the NFL. He finally gets a healthy Joe Burrow this season. It's going to be great to watch. Jamar Chase, number 3. Number 2, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey is going to get the most workload of any running back in the NFL. Rightfully so, because he's such a great player. They have other weapons in this offense, but not other weapons at running back. Great running back, CMC, number 2. And number 1, Tyreek Hill. Now, for all of you that are saying, Lane, Tyreek Hill sucks in the playoffs. It sucks when, it gets cold outside because Tua can't throw him the ball. Okay, fantasy's over by about week 16. Don't worry about that issue. Tyreek Hill plays in Miami. He's always great early on this season. Get you your points, get you into the playoffs, and then get things done for you in the playoffs, taking care of business. If I had a number one pick in my fantasy draft, I'm taking Tyreek Hill. That's about my top 5 players in fantasy football this year, and stay tuned. Now, did you know, this week's Did You Know, it's a great one. Did you know, the GOAT of hockey, Wayne Gretzky, if he never scored a goal throughout his whole entire career, he would still be the NHL's all-time points leader of assists alone. Yes, it is an incredible stat that Wayne Gretzky, if he never scored a goal in his career, would probably still be the GOAT of hockey off of his assists alone, being the all-time points leader. That's why Wayne Gretzky might be the greatest athlete of all time, changing a whole entire sport, changed hockey forever, changed the NHL forever. Wayne Gretzky did that. Didn't know that? Leave down in the comments. Ask Power didn't know this week. Now we've got a great spotlight for you guys today. I'm going to call it the hidden gem of college football this year. The hidden gem of college football this year, it's not Nicholas Harbor, it's not Marlon Klein, it's not Kenneth Grant and these guys who are really good freak athletes. It's not one of those guys. The hidden gem of college football this year is Malachi Nelson, Boise State quarterback. True sophomore. Something interesting about Malachi Nelson is that he was the number 1 player in the country in 2023, above Dante Moore, above Nikolai Malefa, above Arch Manning. So why is he at Boise State now? He didn't commit there out of high school. Out of high school, he committed to USC. Played as a backup to Caleb Williams last year and played 1 snap in his whole entire freshman year, and now he's transferring. It seems like such a great path for him to stay at USC. Caleb's gone. They don't really have a great quarterback situation. They're going to have to play Miller Moss, maybe Soldier Mailava. Let's see what's going to be. Malachi Nelson would have fit perfectly in there. So we thought. Now Malachi Nelson is over at Boise State. I'm not going to go into detail with what happened. Maybe there was a fallout between Lincoln Riley and Malachi Nelson because those two seemed so clicked. The night Lincoln Riley decided to leave Oklahoma and go to USC, Malachi Nelson flipped his commitment from Oklahoma to USC. It's a big flip. Going from where you think you're going to go play in Norman, Oklahoma for a college football career to switching it to go play in LA. It's a big switch right there. Switching from Oklahoma to USC. But that's what Malachi Nelson did for Lincoln Riley. Now that Malachi Nelson is leaving after his freshman year, going to Boise State, going to be your starting quarterback at Boise State, a program that Boise State at one time was the hidden gem of college football, being that blue field, being that group of 5 team that really could be that great team one day, being a power conference, being the Pac-12, being the Big 12. Now that we've seen realignment, Boise State's been left out of realignment, still being stuck in the Mountain West. But Malachi Nelson can be the hidden gem of college football this year. I'm telling you, someone that was ranked higher than Dante Moore, higher than Arch Manning, higher than Nikolai Maleeva, every other player in that 2023 college football class, he's special. Not out of luck, you don't get that ranking. So I think it's a great thing to look out for this year. I would put all my chips into the bag of Malachi Nelson and Boise State football this year based off of that. Boise State football has had so much turmoil in the past year, some coaching changes to a bunch of changes. Malachi Nelson can be the X factor for this team. Watch for Malachi Nelson to revitalize this Boise State football program, and I'm excited to see Malachi Nelson play some football since I haven't seen him take a real snap since high school. The former number 1 recruit in the country in 2023, the true sophomore. That's my hidden gem of college football spotlight this week. Let's see how Malachi Nelson does this year as a sophomore at Boise State, and stay tuned. Now, it's time for me to put on my GM hat here, everybody. I'm an NFL general manager today, and my star player, who wants a big contract, wants to hold out and is saying, I'm not going to play until I get my big contract. Well, here's my reasoning for why that is the dumbest decision you could possibly make. CeeDee Lamb, I'm looking at you. Brandon Ayuk, I'm looking at you. Any other player in the NFL that is holding out this season, I'm looking at you. So let's talk about it, why holdouts are the biggest joke in the NFL. When was the last time a holdout was successful? It really hasn't happened. Let's look at some examples where it really hasn't worked out at all. Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell has not been relevant since his holdout because after his holdout, he signed a mega deal with the Jets and did nothing this time in New York. Darrelle Revis, held out for a massive deal, did nothing after. Antonio Brown hasn't really played real football since that holdout. Where he was in the Raiders, obviously had that big helmet issue, had that big foot issue, went to the Patriots a week later, played one game, landed actually back on his feet with the Buccaneers, so I'm not going to say he didn't play real football. Played half a season of football with the Buccaneers, and then went back into hiding again after making another fool of himself. CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk, I'm not going to say you're being the next Antonio Brown, but I'm saying you might be the next Le'Veon Bell. You might be the next Darrelle Revis, where the contract holdout doesn't work out for you. What's so great of a contract holdout? Because you're not going to want to miss games. You're going to be jealous. It's like, oh, this guy's playing week 1. I just don't have a contract, so I'm going to be a baby about it. I'm not going to play in week 1. I'm not going to have fun with my brothers, with my teammates, by not playing in week 1. And then if you do decide to randomly come back, it's like, all right, I'm getting pretty bored of staying at home. Let's just come back in week 3 and let's play. You're going to play horrible. Let's look at the MLB. Someone like Blake Snell, someone like Jordan Montgomery, guys who missed all of spring training trying to find a team because they were being greedy, had horrible starts to the year. Blake Snell's been great the past few times. He finally landed on his feet in San Francisco. Jordan Montgomery started the season horrible because they missed critical spring training. These guys are missing critical training camp, missing those big hits, missing that big environment. And it's horrible for the game, horrible for them. I don't hope to see them struggle because I know it's going to happen. I just hope they're prepared for it. And I hope they figure out these contract holdout situations soon enough. I hope they at least figure out their holdout situation. Doesn't have to be a new contract, but stop holding out, in my opinion. Jerry Jones can say whatever he wants about CeeDee Lamb's contract. He can say it's not essential urgency. That's great. I love that comment by Jerry Jones. CeeDee Lamb can do whatever he wants, saying LOL to it. I don't think Jerry Jones cares one bit. I don't think he should. That's my GM hat this week. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's do a little At the Buzzer to wrap up this great episode 178. Let's talk some baseball. MLB attendance is up so much this season compared to, let's say, the last 20 years. Maybe it's because baseball is so awesome to watch right now, or maybe just it's more exciting this season. Marcell Ozuna is really close in contention for a Triple Crown. Bobby Witt Jr. has been a great player. Vlad Guerrero is batting like 500 this month. Aaron Judge is closing in on that home run record that he already has in the AL. Maybe he can break that Barry Bonds record. I was talking about this on the radio last night. Go tune in, ESPN 600, every week where I'm making my live 1 hour appearance. And the guy was saying, the host Steve Coppels was saying, is Barry Bonds the all-time home run leader in a season with 73 home runs? Yes, but does that count because he was on steroids? No. Next two guys are McGuire, Sosa. Those guys also cheated. I wouldn't put those guys on that list. And they are left with Aaron Judge and Roger Maris. So maybe Aaron Judge can even break that record, break that Barry Bonds record. Shohei Ohtani's closing in on a 50-50 season. It's a season of accolades, which I think is growing this MLB league. Obviously, baseball is growing, attendance is up, like I said, and viewership is up. I think something that even can get viewership up and attendance up, let's say the White Sox horrible losing streak. White Sox are a joke of a franchise. They might not even win 40 games, have a worse season than 1962 Mets, the worst team in MLB history. The White Sox might be worse than that this year, and that's good for baseball, having a historically laughable bad team. Okay, maybe you have a decently bad team, or a team where it's like, they're bad, but they're not the worst ever. Nobody likes that. I want a team that's so bad to where they're the worst of all time. Detroit Pistons had that horrible losing streak in basketball this year, and they had so many memes about it because of the Wingstop, obviously, where, if they win a game, everybody gets free Wingstop, something like that. It was awesome to see that, a massive losing streak. And we saw that massive losing streak with the White Sox, and then they finally broke it, unfortunately, and then they got another big win against the Yankees 12-2. But this is stuff that is igniting baseball, everybody. Bringing it back. Baseball, a few years ago on the show, I was saying how baseball was dead. We were in a dead ball era. There were terrible things going on with baseball. We had the juice ball era, dead ball era, and baseball wasn't appealing to people anymore. Even last week when I said, we need to shorten the season. There's different things going on with baseball right now, but I think the main thing is that we have attendance up and viewership up, and that's always great for the MLB and the sport of baseball. That's Top 5 the buzzer this week. Best for last, question day. This week's question day is, I need some help from you guys. So, question is, what is your fantasy football best strategy for your whole entire draft? Are you starting out by taking a quarterback? That's a bit ridiculous. Or taking a running back, receiver, you're in a PPR league? I want all your strategies in the comments below. And that's about for question day this week. That's about for Schoolyard Sports and Land Frank, episode 178. Thank you for tuning in. Follow Schoolyard Sports on Instagram at Schoolyard Sports. Follow Schoolyard Sports on X at Schoolyard Sport. Follow Schoolyard Sports on TikTok at Schoolyard Sports. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review for the best sports content in the world. Be back here next week, episode 179. Stay tuned.